John back here again. We've had a new addition to the family from Trident, and we've gotten one of their lovely mulchers here. And because we've got a small mulcher and it wasn't cutting it. It was only a little 7 horsepower petrol mulcher. This mulcher itself has an auto feed on it, so you can't sort of generally overfeed, although I'm sure I will at some point. It's quite a large unit. It weighs at least 300 odd kilos, if not a little bit more. About 35 to 45 horsepower is the minimum to run this. I've got the 55 horsepower tractor, so this is more than adequate to run it. As it goes through, setting the unit up when you first get it to make sure that you've got your PTO drive shaft at the right length, obviously with most all of your implements that run off the PTO. Making sure that when you also have it on, that you don't have any more than a 15-degree pitch on it in operation. With this unit, mine's up in the air because this is where it actually sits as it goes through. There are a number of grease points on the PTO shaft as it goes along. You've also got a grease point here, one on the other side as well, and then there's also one that goes into the main shaft that goes through to the actual the blade itself. It's got a lot of good features on it. As it moves through here, this bar that's here will literally just stop it from feeding. So if for whatever reason you get caught, but honestly, making sure you haven't got any daggy clothing, no jewelry, a pair of gloves on, you know, enclosed boots, steel cut boots. This is a safety precaution that as it goes along, if you need to stop for whatever reason, this will stop the feed itself so you don't get sucked into it. But it doesn't go at a great rate of knots already. This here, the arm above it, is actually for inside the hopper here, where you can see the roller bar. When you pull this other arm down, it lifts it up. So it does adjust, but it also keeps it tensioned and pressure on the material as it's going in. So as it goes through, it doesn't, so far I haven't had anything sort of spit out. Little pieces sometimes pop back, but with the guards in here as well, plastic guards, they're an absolute must. One thing with feeding it on through, make sure your pieces aren't really long. You have to give the tractor a bit of time to actually cut and process the material, because you can have up to 200 millimeters be fed into this, and you have to feed the large end in first, not the small end. As it's going along, what I have found so far is that it will slow down the feed automatically as it goes through with the roller here once it winds it down a bit, and it needs to pick up a bit more momentum, if I've explained that right. Chute's adjustable. You can swivel the chute all the way around if you wish. On top here, it has some bolts here, and there's 2 big swivel points underneath that you can actually swivel it round. So you can swivel it from one side to the other, have it going forwards, backwards, on more of an angle as you wish. The other thing that's quite good with it as well is the guard up the top. I'm lucky, it actually just gets to me trailer. I lose a little bit down here as it goes along, but it shoots directly into me trailer as it goes along. Now, one of the other good things, apart from your grease points on this side as well, which you have to do periodically via the manual, is there's an opening down the bottom here. So if you do get it jammed up, which I'm sure I'm going to at some point, there's a panel there that you can take off. But again, remember not to put your digits in there, and make sure the whole unit is all shut down completely before you even take that panel off. On the other side, there's also another panel on the front side of it as well. Just here as well, so you can get to both sides of your cutting bar inside if you get any blockages. And again, remember, you have to have this completely stopped, and if it does spin a little bit, watch for it, because it's more than enough to take your finger off in here if the blade spins just because of its weight. But once it's off and that, it shouldn't do that. But again, never say never, okay? So be cautious. The other thing is to make sure that you've got glasses, earmuffs on, and a pair of gloves. Other than that, we're going to give this machine a whirl. With what I've done already, it's already light years ahead of my little 7 horsepower petrol mulcher by a long shot. Very happy with this unit so far. Okay, now just to give you a little bit of an indication on how nicely it chips it up, these are very, very small pieces, easy to work with. They're not the really big chunks of wood chip that you generally find down at your landscaping mob. This here will also help break down really, really well. It's not terrible at all. It's got bigger pieces of wood in it, smaller pieces. There's leaves, there's all sorts of stuff, small branches in there as it goes through. I haven't so far found anything that it wouldn't eat, as long as you don't put anything, again, you know, probably no more than about a metre and a half long in regards to larger material into the actual hopper. One thing I've found that it doesn't particularly like, especially with my pepperberries here, as it goes down the throat, and you sometimes have branches and it pushes them on in, it sometimes gets caught a little bit. But I've actually made a little prodding bar, I guess you might as well say, out of wood with a flat end, because you don't want to put yourself down and in there with your hand. The last thing you want to do is get anywhere near the actual feeder or the cutter itself with any part of your hand. But I'll give you a quick look at what that looks like. I've found it makes my job easy, especially when it has chewed up all of the larger material and you've just got a big bunch of leaves going from a shoot this wide down to this big. It does make a little bit of a difference. Sometimes it jams it up a little. If you can feed a little bit of bigger wood through at the same time, it helps open the jaws up a little bit and feed it through. If not, just use the red lever on top, sorry, orange lever on top, and it will help open the jaws up and it will mechanically feed as it goes through. Okay, now this is just a little item I made up. It makes it easy for me. Again, because mine aren't straight, long, narrow sticks, they do bunch out a little bit, okay? And one of the other things you've got to watch is if you've got branches that have rather large sorts of V's on them, you need to be mindful of that, because sometimes you'll have to trim some of your branches or some of your trees a little bit more. I've actually got the chainsaw and a couple of loppers and that in there just in case I need to. But with this, all you basically do is just push it through and it goes through to the bottom. But again, don't go too far, because obviously it will literally ride up and chew the end of this off. I only use it myself just to give it a little bit more of a push instead of hopping all the way in here, which I don't recommend. If that doesn't work as well, you've also got the orange lever up here, which literally raises, so it will take some of them smaller branches and you just give him a little bit of a shove. Okay, that's what I found works for me, and I'm literally so glad I've gotten the chipper from Nicholas Machinery. It's a godsend compared to using my small little 7 horsepower petrol mulcher, which I've had for a lifetime. So it's history. The new toy is here.